In this episode, we're talking about computer-aided design, CAD. We are gonna draw our own geometry, and we're also gonna import geometry and learn a thing or two about coordinate systems and some nifty tools to speed up your process. Let's jump in. So for our first drawing, we're going to iGEMs, open, samples, and we're gonna open the drawing examples and drawing 1. So I want you to draw this. You can either do it now by pausing the video and try to draw it, or you can watch me draw it and then you can try it later on. So I'm just gonna go ahead and draw this in a simple way by using line command. So I'll start the line command. We see line, specify first point. I want to use the ortho here. And I'll start somewhere, it doesn't matter where. So I'm gonna start at the corner of this fillet right here. So I start by clicking the line. I go downwards and I'll type 52. It's relative. It's very important. Okay. So that's that line. Then I start by typing 76. And then 39. And then we use Shift C or close, or we can click here. So that's the rough shape. Now if you want to put dimensions on these parts, we can use the dimension tool. And you see when I hover over this command, there's a D. That means it's the short key. So if we press D on the keyboard, I did that now, we are activating the dimension command. So this line is highlighted. I can click on it and just drag the mouse to the left and click again. 52. Here is 39. And here is 76. The dimension command also works. See, you can take from endpoint, so from here to here, for example, and it can go that way, or that way, or that way, or anyway. So I pressed escape to escape of the command, and now we want to have this rounded corners, which is called fillet, with a radius of 10. So I go to fillet, short key F, and I clicked on it and it says fillet. Now we have to specify the radius, and we just type our radius, so 10. Okay. And we select the lines which we're gonna connect with a fillet. So it's this line and this line. Now we have a radius 20. So I end the command and I press fillet again. And I want to have 20, so I type 20 between this and this. And escape. And we can use the dimension tool again. Click on that arc, go up there, and this, go up there. So that's a pretty simple way of creating this part. Let's go to drawing number 2. So go to iGEMs, open, samples, and drawing 2. And for this one, we have to use a rectangle and also with fillets. So I press rectangle and we have to set a starting point. So I just click somewhere right there. And now we have to specify first the x was this axis, and then y, which is this axis. So it should be 100 by 60. So I type 100. Now it's important that you use comma 60, because that separates the x and y. The point would be like, the distance is 100.5, then you would put a 0.5 and then comma 60.5. So we separate the axis by using a comma. So 100, comma 60. All right, like that. And we also have to put a fillet on here. So we have a radius 10. So we go to fillet. Now in these brackets, it says 10. So it's a predefined value. So if I hit enter now, I will select that value. And if we have a closed geometry like this, we don't have to go around clicking that edge and that edge, that edge, that edge, because it's time consuming. So we can hit P, which is this P polyline, or we can click here, polyline, and I can select this. A polyline is a line of segments, so a lot of lines or arcs. So like that, done, and that's it. If we want to put dimensions, we can do that. Dimensions, we can set between this line and this line, it's 100. And this, it's 60. And the radius is 10. You're doing a fantastic job. So let's jump into our third drawing. Open, samples, and drawing number 3. Open. This is a little bit more tricky. So I'll start by drawing a line, this line right here. And I'm still using the ortho. So I'll start somewhere. I drag my mouse to the right and I type 80. Now, let's deactivate this. Now I want to have this angle. So I want it to go this. So we know that from this line, if we would use this angle all the way here, it's 180 degrees, right? And this is 110, so we know it's 70 from here down there. And that's what we want, because we're going from here, 0, up 70. So we want the line to be 80 millimeters long. And the angle should be 70. Okay. And now there's a trick for you, because if we want to create a line that is perpendicular to this line, we can use the short key A. So I press the A key on the keyboard. It snaps to perpendicular, or 90 degrees, snaps from this line. So I can just draw it this way, type 20, and then Shift C for closing the geometry. So dimensions, 80, that's right. 80, that's right. 20. If I use this, put it there, I press escape and I select this entity, I just click on it. I can click on this grip and I can move it to somewhere close to center, escape. And then dimensions again, and let's see this angle now. This is important. So I click on this line, and it's 110, guys. Looks great. Now on to drawing number 4. Open samples. Drawing number 4. Oh boy. Okay. So let's make a rectangle, which is 121.5 times 75.5. So rectangle, start somewhere by clicking. Go this way, and we set this value first and then that value. So 121.5 comma 75.5, and it has to be relative. Okay, looks good. So now we see that the center of this hole is 10 millimeters from this line up and 10 millimeters from that line. That means that if we create an offset of this or of this 10 millimeters in, then in each corner we can put a circle. So we use our offset command, and the short key is O, but I click here offset, and the predefined value is 10 already, so just hit enter, and we select, it says here select object, so I select the object, and then it asks for a side. So I want this object to be offsetted on the inside, so I click on the inside of the rectangle. And now I press escape. So now we can create a circle, and this one asks for a center, so I'm gonna activate this object snap. I can click on here, and it asks for a diameter. If I want to change that to radius, I can click on radius or press my short key R. Radius or diameter, radius, diameter. Now it's diameter, so the diameter is 10 millimeters. So I type 10, like that. Now I can either create another circle, click on this corner, and the predefined value is 10, so enter. And we can also select this and this just by clicking on them. We can press Shift C, like that. That's a special copy, so we have to specify a base point for this copy. And my base point, I want to be in the center of this circle. So now we can move around, or we can copy it from the center of this circle. And since we know that the target is this corner, I can click on this corner. That will end with escape. So that will make 2 fast copies with a base point. I can select this rectangle and press delete. That will remove it. And the fillet is radius 10, so fillet, predefined value is 10, looks good. I click on it, and then polyline, I select this. And now we have to put a circle. It's in the center of the part, so there are a couple of ways to do it. We can create a line from the midpoint of this, escape, and then we can create a circle from the midpoint of that line. Or we can just hit circle, right click, and there is a snap function which is called centroid. And if I hover over the edge here, you will see that a yellow snap point appears in the center of the part. And the diameter is 50, so I type 50 like that. Let's look at the dimensions here to here. That looks good. Here and here. That looks good as well. And this is 10. This one is 50. This thing is 10. And from the center of this hole to this line is 10. And from the center of this hole to this line is 10. So that looks great. I sure know this stuff. If you want to have a quick break, that's fine. You do whatever you want. I'm just gonna keep on hammering. So let's open number 5. Samples number 5. All right, now we're talking. Let's start this with a circle, because that sounds reasonable. Let's create this circle first, and then we create this circle. So the center circle is a diameter of 40. Then we have circle again. I put the mouse on the edge here, and it will highlight our center snap. So I click here, and this is radius 40, so diameter 80. Type 80. Then we know that the center of this hole and the center of this hole, there's a distance of 75 between them. So I can either select this hole, press Shift C, and then click somewhere. It doesn't matter where you click now, because we only want to put this 75 millimeters on the right. So I click there. I use my ortho. So like this, it's just like making a line. So I go to that direction, 75, enter. So that will create a copy of this one, 75 millimeters to the right. Then we can create a circle and want to create this circle and this circle around. So diameter 20 in the center of this. So diameter 20 and a diameter 30, because that's radius 15. So there and 30. And I select this outer guide circle and delete. So now here comes the tricky part, which isn't tricky if you know how to do it. Select the line, and the start point is going to be on a tangent on this circle. So I right click, tangent on this circle, and right click again, tangent to this circle. Escape. So that will make a tangent line between these two surfaces, or these two circles. So I do that again, line, tangent there, and tangent there. Escape. Then we can use the trim command, which will take away any entity. So if I click here, since this line is intersecting with this line, it will delete this part. And this one will delete just this part of the circle. So I click here. And that's our part. Escape. Let's look at it. So dimensions. I want to use the center of this and right click center of this at 75. Looks great. This is radius 40. This is diameter 40. This is diameter 20, and this is radius 15. Voila. You know what comes after number 5? Number 6. Let's open it. Samples. Number 6. And oh, yeah, this one is gonna be, I think it's gonna be a little bit easier for you. So I will start out by creating a rectangle, starting somewhere, and the first value is this, second value is this, so 160.5, comma, 45. And to get this shape, I like to create a circle, but not this circle. I'm clicking on the draw, which is a drop down, circle from 3 points. So I want the first connection to be tangent and kiss this line. The next is gonna kiss this, and the third connection is kissing this line. And from this, we can use our trim command, short key T. So I click on it and I'll remove this, this, and this. All right, done. So now it's just these 3 circles left. So this first circle is in the center of this circle. So I'll create a circle in, let's see if I can find the snap point. I cannot, so I right click, C. And now we see a snap point in the center, so I click there. The diameter is 12 on these holes, so I type 12, all right. And I'm gonna use the Shift C, our special copy command. So I'll select this part, hit Shift C, and if I hit enter or space, it will select the center. So I can do that, space. And I want to remove this 30 millimeters. So I just type 30, like that. And the next one is also 30. So I move it to the left and 30, like that. Escape. And that's it. Dimensions, 45. I'm gonna use from the right click, so quadrant of this to this line. It's 160.5. And the center, so the center, there's also a short key, which is C. So center from this, and I press C, center is 30. I can do it again, C on the keyboard and C on the keyboard, like that. And this one is diameter 12. Voila. So guys, we're more than halfway through our drawings. Let's celebrate by open number 7. Ooh, all right. This one is a bit more tricky. At least it looks like it. As with many others, I will start by using a rectangle. And I'm going to use 85 times 80. So I'll start somewhere. 85 times 80. There we go. Now I'm going to use the explode command. Because if I select this, you see that it sticks together. It's one entity. I deselect it by clicking escape or pressing escape on the keyboard. So explode asks for select object. So I select this object and hit enter. That will create 4 individual lines. So it's no longer a rectangle, or it looks like a rectangle, but it's actually 4 lines. So with that, I can move the bottom line, which we have, this is the baseline. I want to move it up 15 millimeters. So I use offset, and we cannot, oh, we can, we have 15 right there, perfect. So 15, select this line and move it, so either that side or that side, but we want to move it up, so click on this side. So now we have that, escape. I want to make this shape, because I know that the anchor point is 15 millimeters up, right here, and also the same there, and it's in the center in the bottom. So I draw a arc, this arc, start on end. So I want it to start here. That's the midpoint of it, so I use midpoint on that line, and the end point is here. So I can select this line again, press delete. This line we don't need either, delete, and we can trim like this, or escape. I can select this line, I can click on this handle and click on the end point here. That will bring the handle up to this position. Now this corner is too high, so I want it to be, I select this line and select this handle. I'm drawing it downwards, and I know that I want it to be 80 minus 57. So there's a built-in calculator here. So if I hit OK here, it's gonna end up right there. So the value is basically 23 millimeters, but if you're like me, a lazy dude, you might like to calculate inside here. And we can also take this, just click on this line, click on the handle, and click on the end point there. So that's basically our shape. If we want to use these dimensions, I recommend do it with when you haven't done a fillet. So dimension from this point to, there's no snap there, so I have to use either midpoint or quadrants. I'll use the quadrants here. And that's our 80. We have the quadrant again. And this endpoint, 15. We use the quadrant again. And this here, like so. And then from here to here, it's 85. Escape, and we use a fillet, radius 12. The radius is 12 here, so okay, and select like that, escape, and then our last dimension, which is this fillet 12. It really is that simple, guys. We're almost there, guys. Let's open drawing number 8. And all right, so it's basically a rectangle with edges that has got a radius. Let's start by creating a rectangle. So 140 times 85, like that. Now here's what I like to do. I like to create a circle from 2 points. So the first point is going to be here, and now this is radius radius 600. So the value of this circle, which we're going to type, is the diameter. So I'll type 1200. Let's just move this. I'll select it like that and hit move. It asks for a base point, so I just click somewhere. I'll drag it down. Now I'm gonna trim away this. All right. And I want to rotate, or we can use the mirror instead. So I'll select mirror. I select this that we just created, enter. So a base point is going to be the centroid of this rectangle. And since we have the ortho command active, if you do, it's easier to get this copy or this mirror on the right spot. So just when you see it down there, just click, keep original, yes. So that's that arc. Let's create another one. We can click on circle if we want to, and 2 points. So C for circle, and then F for 2 points. So CF, and click, start on the midpoint, go this way. Now that's radius 100, so diameter 200, type 200. We trim this away, escape, and we transform, mirror this, done. Right click, centroid, this box, and we want it on the other side. So click here, keep original, yes. Now I'm gonna select the box or the rectangle, delete that, and we can use the fillet command. 20, I think that was the value. Yeah, 20, that's good. So enter, and we select this side, this, and this. And that looks pretty good to me. Dimensions. So we want from the quadrant of this or the midpoint of this right there. So I'm gonna use my short key M for midpoint here, midpoint again here, and we have this value, we have this value, and also this value. So that looks like we nailed it, guys and girls. Great. Number nine. Samples 9. All right. So this is a funny one. I'll start by creating this outer circle. So C for circle on the keyboard. I'll start somewhere, and it's going to be diameter 110. Now I want to create another circle that's gonna represent a center line in between all of these circles, which is 35 in radius. You see a point from the center to a point in this circle. So circle in that center, the radius is 35, so diameter is 70. And when you see a pattern like this, I like to go for for this circle, because that's in some kind of a center line through this part or through this geometry. So I'm gonna draw that circle. So I'll choose the quadrant of this, and the diameter is 14. And now we have a special function under transform, which is called array. And I'll select this circle, the little circle, and click OK. And I want to go to a polar array. So the first thing we have to do is to specify a center point, a point which we want these things to rotate around. So I click on this button and I hover over this circle. So I see there's a center yellow snap in the center of the circle. So I click there. That will get our coordinates for the center of this array. Now I want to have 5, right? We have 5 circles, so we'll change this to 5. And the angle to fill is 360 degrees. So we want to spread 5 items over a 360 degree. Yeah. So, okay. And that's the hard part, really. So we can select this circle, delete. Now we have this little circle in here, which is radius 16.5. So circle. Click on the edge here. And if you're lazy like me, I do 16.5 times 2. And we also have this little thingy here. And it's 12 and 25. So we know that if we would have a rectangle like this, the midpoint of this end would sit in the center here. So I'm going to create a rectangle which is 12 by 25. And I'm going to select it. Let's choose the move command. And I'm going to move specify base point. The base point is going to be the midpoint down here. And I'm going to move that midpoint to the center of the circle. Then I'll use the trim command to trim away this and this. And there is the geometry. Dimensions. Let's look at this. 110 looks good. 16.5 looks good. I'll use the center of this to the center of this. And that's 35. Looks good. 12. Center of this to that line is 25. This is 14. Did I miss something? No, looks good. So that's the polar array. Useful function. We are almost there. Only 2 left. So let's open the samples again and select this. All right. It's a rectangular array. And I'll start by creating a rectangle. That's 120 by 80. And I want to get this point, and I also want to check when we make the rectangular array, I want to see that these end up in the right position. So I'm going to create an offset, which is 20. It's predefined, so enter. And select this line or rectangle and pick the inside. So now we know that the circle is going to be 10 millimeter diameter, and it can start from here. So radius, diameter, sorry, 10, like that. And I want to transform with an array. Select this circle. And it's not a polar anymore, so we're going to use a rectangular. The rows, we have 3 rows. So type 3, and columns are 5. So 5 columns. And the delta x, that means the distance from the center of this to the center of this. So that's 20. So we just type 20. And delta y is 20. There are also settings for using spacings, and that would be the distance from there to there. But we want a delta. So like this. Okay. Yeah, all right, great. And now we see since we left this rectangle here, we see that it ends up just in the right position. Delete that rectangle and let's put the dimensions on here. 80 looks good. 120. I want the center, so I press C on my keyboard. There. 20. C. So that thing. 20. This is 10. Center. 20. All right, that looks great. So we made it to the final drawing, number 11. It's a final test. It's a mix of everything we've done. So I'll start by creating a rectangle that's let's do a rectangle like this. And I want it to be 7.52, this value. 7.52 times, let's make it 50. I'll move it, so let's select, move, some base point. I'm not going to use ortho, I'll just put it there. Okay, so this rectangle represents this piece right here. And we will use a transform array, select this, enter, a polar array, and the center is going to be the midpoint of this. So I've made this 50, and the distance from here to here is 100. That means that from the center of here to the top of this rectangle is 50. So midpoint, we're gonna have 12. It's just like a clock, 12 arms, fingers. Angle is 360. All right, like that. Now I want to create a circle right here, which is 50.14. So diameter 50.14. Like that. And now I'm going to jump into our tools tab a little bit because this is so much simpler. Tools, cam tools, boundary trim. If I click on this circle, it will remove everything inside it. So that's just a sneak peek from the cam tools episode. CAD, you can do that by just trimming away everything manually, but this is so much simpler. So now I want to create a circle from 3 points, and that's gonna kiss tangent this, and I'll use the short key T on the last one, so short key T there. So it kisses all these 3 lines, there, there, and there. And we can use the trim and remove this, escape. And now we can use transform again, use our array, select this, enter, we don't have to change the 0 point or the center because that's already in the center. We want to have 12 items and the angle to fill is 360. So, okay. And that will place all of these small things there. So let's place this circle in the center. So circle in the center, and it's 25.07, like that. And I'll select this because we don't want it. I'll select it and I press delete. And then it's just some manual labor trim to trim away all of these goodies. And once you've done that, you have completed the drawing episode. And you are now a certified iDiom's CAD professional. Like so. Just for the fun of it, let's use our dimension tool again. This is 100. That thing is 7.52. Oh, it's a little bit tight. Let's just do that. It's not the best way to do it, but and midpoint. Escape. I'll choose this handle. I drag it in there. And dimension again here. That looks good. So that's the training, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. You know, there are several more things in here, but I think they are pretty self-explanatory. There's no reason for me to go on with all of these circles. You can just try them around. We do have some pretty cool stuff. Who knows, we might come back here and look at some other features in the other episodes. But that's it for this episode. Thank you for watching. And if you haven't already subscribed to our channel, please do that. Take care. Bye.